Hello and welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast as we preview Gameweek 34 Sun Dream Team. We're recording this on Monday evening, so we still have got Forest, Brentford and some European fixtures still to play. Talking of European fixtures, Ben, just back from a European adventure yourself. Do you have a nice holiday?
Yeah, it was all right, apart from the weather weren't very good.
No.
Got a bit warmer in the last few days, so the pool wasn't that freezing then.
Tell everyone where you've been.
Oh yeah, I've been Portugal.
Lovely. Well, at least it wasn't today. Internet blackout in Portugal, I think, today.
Yeah, I've heard about that. It's all up in Spain as well. I've got family over there, and they've said that they've had 3-hour blackout. They're back on now, though.
We're talking about internet
That's
blackouts. Actually, that's quite.
Try living here.
Yeah, I was going to say that's quite a good segue into introducing you, isn't it? Welcome back to the pod, regular James. Long-time listeners will know James. How you doing, mate? You good?
I'm good, mate. Yeah. Pleased to be back on for a little stint. Yeah.
I've heard you sing when you're winning, don't you? Congratulations on the league title.
Ben was joking about that earlier. Yeah, great score in Dream Team and Liverpool win the championship. And now you want to come back on.
Yeah, finally
come to rub it in.
Finally won more Premier League titles than Blackburn and Leicester.
Let's kick it off with your team, James. So actually, first, before we do, we'll just say hello to a couple of people in the chat joining us. So we're recording this live to our Patreon members and YouTube channel members. We've got Miss Noopy in the chat, Joe Cook, Icars, Steve Ricks, and that might be it. That's it for this evening. So welcome, everyone. Get any late questions in if you like. But James, take it away.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this week's gone. I don't, apart from a couple of Arsenal players and Fernandez, I don't have much else going on with Spurs or any of the other sides. But 83 points. Quite happy with that. I brought in, I took out Rashford and Marmoush, and I brought in Isaac and Cunha. I swear to God, I was going to captain Cunha. And then I heard I was reading the Wolves fans were like saying, no, we shouldn't start him because, he's going to leave at the end of the season. We want Belgrave to play. And I thought, oh God, do I really want to risk the captaincy on him? And I switched it to Isaac. So it could have been an absolutely stellar week. But no, I'm happy with 83 points. Some big rank rises in my mini leagues with that, so that's all good. Went for Salah captain, possibly blinded slightly by my love of Liverpool. I thought it'd be a high scoring game. I think he could have got more, but 10 points not too bad. Well, I see a lot of people captain Fernandez this week. He was obviously a good choice with potentially two fixtures. So we'll see how that pans out. So yeah, a bit different there, captaining a single game week player and bringing in two single game week players. I mean, some of the options with some of these Europa League sides are a little bit scarce, aren't they? With the mass rotation, etc. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different. So I think this coming week, I'm looking at getting rid of Asensio potentially, maybe Konsa. I think City have got some great fixtures coming up, so Marmoush could be something I might want to get back in. But I did hear that Haaland's back in training, so I might have to reconsider that one depending on team updates and Pep, etc. Probably a little bit light on our Arsenal coverage. Maybe Konsa could be Saliba this week. Let's see how they get on against PSG, I think. Bit fortunate I hear Rashford's out for the season, so can't claim to it be any can't claim that was any foresight on my part, just a little bit of luck that I happened to take him out. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Yeah, what I'm thinking, Cunha, could be a hold, even though they got City away. That's the other thing I'm considering. But I don't know what you guys think about holding. I know you've both got him as well. Are you going to hold him this week?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough decision, isn't it? It's always hard to take someone out after they've had a really nice week, but I had intended on it being a 1 week punt. Well, that's a spoiler. Me and Ben both have Cunha as well. What were you thinking, Ben? Because I was initially thinking 1 week punt, but yeah, it could be other ways to go.
Yeah, initially I was thinking the same 1 week punt, but he just seems to get points from everywhere, don't he? Like 5 bonus points this weekend, 2 assists and a goal. I know it's City, but City haven't been as strong as they have been in the past. And Wolves have won 6 in a row now, haven't they? So could be a good match for them. Yeah, so interesting. I'm not sure yet, but I mean, usually I'd look at a double game week player, bring him in. But I've got so many single game week players, I might be able to like facilitate keeping him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was a bit of a theme of the last pod, wasn't it? We were sort of talking, could these single game week players sort of cover some of the doublers when the doubles aren't necessarily nailed with all the rotation that's going on?
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it isn't all about the doublers for the remainder. It's definitely going to give us a little bit of recency bias. I think where it's worked this one time, you will be tempted to maybe try it again, I think. That's your team up on the screen there. Oh, James, you're up to 550th overall now, isn't it?
Yeah, I flirted with around 500. Then I dropped down to 750, and now I'm back up. The last couple of weeks, I've climbed back up to 550. So that's a respectable rank. If I'd started the season with Salah, I reckon I'd be right up there. But don't ask me why I didn't.
Didn't back your boy.
Yeah, started on fire as well.
Take it away, Ben.
What about taking Salah out, James? Obviously, tricky fixtures coming up, but I seen a stat the other day that he scores most of his goals in the Premier League against the top sides. I can't remember exactly, but like all the top sides were up there when he said the amount of goals he scored against each team.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, sometimes he doesn't do as well as you think he would against the lesser sides. I don't think Chelsea. Well, they got Chelsea next. That's away. Chelsea aren't that great this season, although they are fighting. They've got a lot to play for, haven't they? They need another 3 wins to give them a chance of that 5th European spot, maybe 4 wins. So they're going to be going for it. Liverpool might be on the beach. But yeah, so I don't know. So I'm probably not going to take him out myself. Although I think if you're going to do it, now's the time to do it, isn't it? Because after that, you've got Arsenal. And then the last 2 games was Bournemouth away, Crystal Palace at home. So they aren't too bad. I'm not sure I could bring myself. I think I've got other fires myself at the moment. So I'd probably be keeping it myself, certainly this week. Might reconsider for the Arsenal game. But Arsenal might be preoccupied by PSG. How does that fall? And it'll be after the PSG game, won't it? So we'll see. Probably a hold for me, but only because of my team's circumstances.
Can you see yourselves captaining Salah, though, in any of these final 4? Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton away, and then Palace at home. When you consider that probably in 36 and 37, there's likely to be teams that double as well. With cup finals,
Probably
maybe as well.
Me. Yeah, I don't think he's probably going to be the best captaincy option.
Yeah, probably not for me either. Possibly 37, but if Chelsea get to the Conference League final, then they'll have a double that week. So could be a Palmer maybe there if he comes into form. Because if he doesn't, I probably wouldn't captain him.
Just looking, we're all on that same front three of Cunha, Isak, Salah. Would you sell Isak before you sold Salah? I think I would. Isak's got Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal, Everton.
They've got three of the same teams as Liverpool. I think I probably would hold Isak over Salah if it came to that call, because of we've won the league. We're going to finish top. You've got to look at the motivation, haven't you? I don't think they'll be on the beach myself, but you never know.
What's the goal scoring chart like? I'm just going to try and pull it up now. He'll be top of that, won't he? So he'll want to maintain that.
Golden Boot.
Nice. He's well ahead, six goals ahead of Isak. So he'll be keeping an eye on that, won't he?
Yeah.
Go on, Ben, take us through yours.
Yeah. So we've got Onana in goal, 2 points, and he's still got Bilbao to play. No saves in this game for him. It's a bit disappointing. I've got Timber to play. Porro rested against Liverpool, which is probably a good job because they conceded 5. And I've got Bodo Glimt coming up. Munoz pulled a 7-pointer out of the bag. I didn't expect Palace to win against Villa, so I'm happy with that. And they'll get an extra game. Saka to play. Palmer, 3 points. I brought him in for the double, and he's got another double next week as well. Hopefully he plays against Djurgårdens. But would you open your curtains if Chelsea are playing in Djurgården?
Boo.
Sorry. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully he plays that. They've got to play, surely. They're this close to winning a trophy, so I think he'll play. Fernandez, captain, kept it simple this week. I just thought 2 games for Bruno, could get points from all over, and if he gets a goal, happy days. So yeah, 5 points. It was 6 when he lost the point.
Yeah.
So not too bad start. De Bruyne, that's the one. Rested, or I don't know, just left on the bench because they were 2-0 up, so he didn't need to come on. But yeah, playing Wolves next week. Didn't he score 4 goals against them once?
I think he has got a good record.
Yeah. Surely he comes straight back in for that game.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking last week when he had that double, I was probably not going to be surprised if he only started one and was benched for the other. So maybe it's kind of across the 3 fixtures. He has still got the rest, but not where we expected it. But yeah, semi-final at Wembley, you did think that he'd probably play that.
Yeah, seemed quite a defensive team put out, wasn't it? Midfield like. Yeah, Cunha came in for me, but I took Marmoush out for him. So 22 points, but Marmoush got the assist. He's done it again. You take him out, you put him in, he does nothing. You take him out, he gets attacking return. Yeah, 8 points. Not too bad. Possibly bring him back in the next few weeks. But like you said, Haaland's back in training as well, so something to consider. Rodgers came out for Palmer, and he got 2-pointer, so it's not too bad. Isak 9 and Salah 10. So yeah, 63 points, 419th overall.
Did very similar, actually, with I think the same moves as you this week. Cunha in for Marmoush for me as well, and Palmer in for Rodgers. You know me, I don't really normally take these risks or punts, but I really liked the look of the Cunha one, so I did Cunha for Marmoush. I was terrified though because last time I took Marmoush out, that was when he got the hat trick the week after against Newcastle. So I was a bit worried about that one, but yeah, 8 points. You take that, won't you, really, compared to 22. But I did feel like where I took the punt with one move, I kind of had to make a bit of a defensive move with the second, which was Palmer in reluctantly. I didn't feel good about bringing him back in, to be honest, considering how poor he has been lately. But just with the lack of players with 2 fixtures, it felt like the one that could potentially go off. And it still could against Eurogarden. We'll see. But yeah, Rodgers out as well, quite highly owned, wasn't it? So felt like a bit of a risk. But 78 points for the week. So Allison 3. I've got Saliba still to play tomorrow. Munoz 7. Vardiol 14. Palmer 3. Bruno Cap. De Bruyne did not play. Saka plays tomorrow. I'll be at that one. Managed to get myself a ticket for PSG. That'll be good. 22 for Cunha. 9 for Isak and 10 for Salah.
Vardiol's a great score, eh? 14 points. You both got him, don't you?
Yeah. I think a lot will be annoyed about that, won't they? Because, I mean, I was starting to doubt him a little bit, where he's been playing centre-back constantly. I thought, his attacking threat's kind of gone out the window a little bit, but he's popped up with that goal. That's four clean sheets in their last 6 for City. So him and Diaz got a bit of a partnership going on now at centre-back.
Yeah, when he scored, I cheered it like he was in my team, and I remembered I sold him a few weeks ago. But I was buzzing that he scored anyway, because for the other formats I've got him in.
Let us know in the chat how you guys have got on. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you would like to support the channel, and if you're watching this later on and you'd want to get that early access to the pod, you can hit that join button to become a YouTube channel member, or sign up at patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic. Get your questions answered on the pod. You get early access, includes ad-free listening, and you get access to our Discord of over 100 engaged managers. A load of people doing very, very well as well in our mini leagues and in the Discord at the moment. So yeah, seems to help people out. So do consider joining. And then Ben's fixture ticker as well is available on the Patreon tier 2 level. And I think that'll be updated quite soon, because we've got now the FA Cup finalists, and it's quite good to find out when all these cup finals are going to be played as well, because we're going to have potentially 3 English sides or 4 playing in the European finals. So yeah, patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic. Let's look at some questions. So Steve87 is up first. So he's actually asking, is it time to ditch Salah and Palmer for one last push to the top of his mini league? He's currently 29 points behind the leader. So we sort of talked about Salah out then, didn't we? But James, how are you feeling about this one? Salah and Palmer, would you take them out?
Well, I think I've said what I thought about Salah already. So, but Palmer, I ditched myself a couple of weeks ago. I mean, his form's fallen off a cliff. And I was worried. I was like, should I bring him back this week? And I just thought, it's just a fear pick, really.
Yeah.
I decided I was gonna. I mean, it wasn't pleasant. Watching, listening to the football and thinking, God, he's going to go off, isn't he? Because I haven't got him. But no, I just don't think he's doing anything at the moment. His stats are still pretty good. I mean, he could turn it around. I mean, see how he gets on Thursday. I don't know. It's just not racking up the points. I think there's probably better options. I would be looking at some single game week player options myself. If you're 29 points behind the leader, I think it probably is time to look at a differential in that spot, like I have. Yeah.
Yes, it's hard, isn't it? Because if he does play against Eurogarden in this next match, I think that will sort of sway people's thinking a little bit, as long as he does well. But yeah, if he's benched or doesn't get good minutes, I think people will eventually get fed up of him, especially if it turns out that the week after could just be Liverpool in a single, potentially. So, yeah, that's a good point. What do you reckon, Ben? You going to keep him in?
Yeah, agreed. If he's playing Jaw Gardens and it's still tight in the second leg, then it's possibly I'd be keeping him. But yeah, looking at the Premier League games, they're all red fixtures.
Yeah.
You know, Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, Forest. So I wouldn't blame you if you took him out. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it all depends on what happens on Thursday. Yeah, Salah. It's just there isn't anyone like you think. Oh yeah, I've got to get someone in. You know, for certain games, it's just he's one of the best players in the game. So it's like probably one of the last players you want to be taking out your team. Even if he's got a single, he can still go off. Hasn't been on great form lately, but has had a fantastic season. So scary taking him out.
That's what they've both got in common, isn't it? Both Salah and Palmer are. Salah's a bit more recent, but he did go 6 games without a goal. It's in the back of your mind. You're thinking, what's the worst case scenario that could happen? And then you think back to when they both hit, say, 20 odd pointers, don't you? Yeah, the Salah one feels a little bit like it could backfire. But I'm looking the same as you. I want to bring maybe Marmoush back for next week. And then that means one of Cunha, Isak, Salah has got to go. But then Cunha's probably got the worst fixture in City, but played quite well. Get a nice price rise if you care about that at this point. And then Isak versus Salah, if you wanted to lose one of them.
He could have a double next week, the week after, though. Look on Cunha.
Cunha, yeah.
Because the Palace FA Cup final's going into 36, so the game could be moved to 35.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's worth pointing out, isn't it? It might even these fixtures might even be released by the time this goes out to everyone. But yeah, there's a few games that could be moved around, isn't there? With those clashes, what is it? Villa could end up having. Oh no, City will have possibly Southampton, Bournemouth in 35.
Yeah,
Villa could have Bournemouth, Spurs in 35. Palace could have Spurs, Wolves double in 35, and then Wolves could have Brighton, Palace. But it's still to be confirmed. Some of those could go back or forward, couldn't they?
Yeah. That. Go on, James.
I was just going to say, I hope they tell us, make those announcements before the deadline, because it would be really useful information with regards to transfers.
Yeah. Yeah, that Villa game's only because of Tottenham asking them to move it back, isn't it? Because of if they get to the Europa League final, they want a few more days rest. But Villa don't want to move it, do they? So
no, and you kind of don't blame them either, do you? Because they had that period where they had to play a load of games with barely any turnaround, and they didn't sort of get any preferential treatment, did they, Villa? But yeah, we'll see how that one lands. It's not worth us even trying to guess, because I think it'll probably be out very soon anyway. Yeah, I think in Steve's scenario, if I was chasing, I do think I'd potentially take one of the two out and try and go for a bit of a differential punt. But I'm sure we're about to cover some of those punts now. So we'll move on to the next one from Roberto. So your best double game week players to target for the next couple of weeks. So like I said, we had that little chat, didn't we? Well, that's actually me and Tony last week saying, are the doublers really worth it? Because are they definitely doubling at this point when you've got players like at Spurs? You've just seen Porro, for example, benched because he's got Europe in midweek. Hard to find true doublers, but James, are there any double game week players that you think you'd be targeting for the next couple of weeks?
Well, obviously, I would say Saka and Fernandez are essential, but that's pretty obvious. I'm sure most people have got them anyway. Saliba and Rice, good options. Cucurella, potentially. I looked at Enzo, but he's not playing the European games. Well, he hasn't played the last 3, I don't think, 3 or 4. So otherwise, he would have been a good one. I do wonder if Kulusevski might be an option, but then Spurs are rotating heavily, aren't they? It would seem. So I did notice he's been since he's come back from injury, he's been gradually building up his minutes. And earlier in the season, he was golden boy, wasn't he? Banging in the points. So he's certainly one to watch. Keep an eye on him on Thursday, see how he gets on. I think Kulusevski could be a little bit of a differential, probably not on people's radars, but could potentially do quite well, I think.
Yeah, with Chelsea, I think Enzo, Neto, Jackson all did pretty well this week, but like you said, I don't think they've been playing in Europe, all 3 of those. No. And then when you look at how hard their Premier League fixtures are and what they need from those Premier League fixtures, it does make you wonder whether they are actually going to play. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, pretty much similar to James. Like the Rice and Saliba, I think are good picks. Obviously, we know about Saka and Bruno. Yeah, Cucurella, Palmer. They're pretty safe ones. I'm liking Porro for these games coming up. And there is other players, but I don't think they're like the best double game week players to target, but they could be good punts. Like Merino could be back from injury for Arsenal, been playing centre forward and gets the odd goal anyway. And then obviously Arsenal defenders a good way to go. So you've got Kivior, Timber as well. Man U defenders, if they do well in this first leg, could be a good point. Mazraoui's like the top of the tackles, and and Dorgu should be nailed now with Dallo injured. And Garnacho, he's was he start the last 12 now?
Yeah, so, 12 in a row.
Yeah, he just ticks along getting tackles and shots, and he's got the 3rd most shots on target out behind Salah and Haaland as well. I don't know how he can't score with that many shots.
Smashing it at the keeper, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he was close actually at the weekend, wasn't he? He had a close chance. That would have been a Bruno assist.
He's the Nunez of this season. Nunez kept getting the points for shots on target last year, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh. That's what you do. You get the keeper. You get Garnacho in, and whatever keeper he plays against.
What anyway? So going off thingy here, but what was Nunez doing at the weekend? He threw on goal, could have scored, and he crossed it to Salah, who was behind him.
His confidence is shot, and he's not been playing. He's clearly not first or second choice even. I mean, Jota came on before he did. He's going in the summer, I imagine. Hopefully someone will be stupid enough to give us 40-50 million for him. He could do well elsewhere. He's got the raw talent, but he just can't. He's Jigsaw, and he goes to piece in the box.
He's one that's like causing me to be a little bit worried about Arsenal being linked with this Gyökeres at the moment. It's like you get these strikers that are absolutely smashing in the goals in Portugal, and then you see Nunez come over here and then do what he's done or what he hasn't done. Makes you wonder.
Yeah, Gyökeres is a very confident player, though. I think he's totally different. I think he'd be a good signing.
Done a bit of time in the Championship as well, hasn't he? So he's done the physical side of things as well.
What do you think of Maddison? Got taken off at half-time at the weekend, but he still got an assist. So he's still ticking along.
Yeah, I'd wrote my 3 from Spurs. I'd actually put Porro, Maddison, Solanke. just because Maddison isn't quite getting like full doubles, but he is playing a fair amount of games. I think before he had that injury where he got taken up by the keeper in the last European game, he was on a bit of a run doing quite well. I don't think it's a bad shout, but just their performances though in the Prem have just been so horrible, haven't they? I just don't think I can bring myself to bring them in. And
scraping the barrel, boys. Scraping the barrel.
I think so.
You've got to look at single game week players rather than Spurs, I reckon. Apart from Porro aside, maybe.
He has got 34 points since game week 29, though.
Who, Maddison?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Decent.
He doesn't need that many minutes to get points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Solanke on the other hand, like
I don't even want to talk about him. I don't even like it.
No, he's let people down a lot, this season.
Just there's not enough places for players like that. I think.
Not many weeks left. No passengers. Connor says, long time no see, James. How's life been? Looking forward to you lighting cigs on the pod like the old days. We're not encouraging it on the pod, but there's one for you, Connor. He said, how was it bumping into Ben and Scott at the meetup? I think the picture was it was Ben and Tony, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You saw a lookalike?
Oh, he's on about the lookalike. And that makes sense now. Because clearly I was thousands of miles away at the time. No, it's all good. All good, Connor. Thank you. Settled in well here. Finally got myself a car. I've bought a house, which I hopefully move into in a month or so. It looks nothing like me.
Not very good, but
insult that is. I'm deeply offended.
what must he have been thinking? Poor bloke.
He was a good sport. He was a good sport.
Bradder's up next. He says, despite the haul, he's taking Trippier out of his team. He's already got Munoz and Vardiol. Is it worth going for Porro, who might only play one out of the two, but has got a higher points potential than the others? Or going for someone like Saliba, Mazraoui, Dorgu, who's more likely to play two? Ben, what do you reckon? You've already got Porro, haven't you?
Yeah, I do really like Porro. And like he said, he's just got that high ceiling, hasn't he? He could just easily score a good 12 points in one game. So I don't mind it, I know he's probably not going to play. He might not play the West Ham game. But then if they beat Bodo, and then they've still got like 4 games with the Europa League final, but then he might get rested for Villa, innit? But that's a double game week as well. So you probably will just put him in there anyway, just because if he gets a little bit of minutes in the first match, it's extra points. I do like it. Obviously, it's safer. I think it depends as well on what you're doing. If you're just defending your lead, you probably go safer with something like a Saliba or someone who's definitely going to play all the matches. And also, it all comes down to who goes through as well, doesn't it? As well, like after this game week, we'll have a gist of who's going to go through next round, more or less.
I just think, like you said there, you've picked out, say he's got a potential 5/6 fixtures, isn't it? If he gets through to the, 6 fixtures if he gets through to the final in Europe. But you've picked out 2 games where he probably could get a rest. But even if it's 4 of Porro versus 4 of most defenders, I do think he comes out on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like the idea of Porro still. What do you reckon, James?
If you're chasing as well, it's just nice to try and get those big scores to get up the leaderboard.
Yeah, you've seen a few like this weekend. So many defenders like Aït-Nouri, Trippier, Trent. There's been quite a few, Vardiol. There's been a lot of defenders who we've seen get a clean sheet plus an attack in return and had like a mega haul, isn't it? So. What would you go for, James?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, personally, I've been looking at him. I mean, it's annoying he doesn't and start both, and he probably won't. He won't, will he? Because they got nothing to play for in the league. And it's all on that cup final. I mean, Ange has set his stall out, hasn't he? Said, I always win a trophy in my second season. So he's got to go for it, hasn't he? Regardless. No, I don't mind the idea of putting Porro in. Let's see what happens on Thursday, like you said. If they, you would expect them to beat them, wouldn't you? But I'm probably going to go Saliba myself, but if Arsenal get a tonking on against PSG, I might put Porro in instead.
I must admit, you both mentioned him, I think, in your players for the double game weeks, but I think I'd put Cucurella as a close second now, behind Porro, possibly. Anything to add on that one, Ben?
No.
Move on. Aman is flying at the minute. Let's have just 10th on the overall leaderboard. Aman.
Go on, Aman.
He's had a cracking week.
Go, Aman. We're rooting for you.
So is it a viable strategy now to captain a single game week player over a doubler, or is it too risky? So James obviously mentioned that he was close to going for the Cunha. I see people do it.
Well, I went for Salah, didn't he? And he did have
still a
single.
Yeah.
So I do think it's a valid strategy if you can get the right player. I mean, if you'd done Cunha this week, you'd be laughing, wouldn't you? And with the like Fernandes got a rest the other day. He's obviously with engaged managers. I can see why most engaged managers would have gone Fernandes. I decided not to. But I do think it's worth considering. I mean, that could be the thing that propels you from 10th to, first or second or third or something. If you can get on another Cunha type haul, it's definitely a viable strategy. I wouldn't discount it. It's probably a little bit riskier, but sometimes I think if you're in 10th, I don't know what the points gap is, but it might be worth that punt if you believe a player's going to go off in a single game. I think it could be worth doing because a lot of the doublers aren't great options. Let's be honest.
Yeah. What do you reckon on that, Ben?
I think at this stage of the season, when there's not much on, and obviously a lot of teams are out of competitions now. It's definitely viable to go for something a bit different and try and get yourself higher up the league table. Obviously, at the start of the season, I'd probably just stick to a double game week player. But whereas we're getting to this point where you want to try and win mini leagues or get up the leaderboard, I'd definitely consider it.
I just wanted to have a little peep at the leaderboard this week to see if any around the sort of top 10, top 20 went for a single game week captain. There's a few Salah caps in there actually. Around in at 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Yeah, there's a few. Also, Aman went for Salah himself, so he must think it's a viable strategy.
Oh.
Yeah, no Cunhas though. No Cunhas in and around the top spot this week. That would have been the sort of move that would. I mean, yeah, if you're in around 10th and you've got the Cunha one right this week, that would be a bit of a game changer, wouldn't it? So could be a tempting one.
23rd went Cunha. D. Aston.
Gibbs White in there. Oh, that's a doubler though, isn't it? That's a doubler this week.
Yeah, hit the post twice, didn't he?
Yeah, that was unlucky. Oh, that volley, wasn't it? It was lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am tempted. The only thing I would say is though this week, like, even though 5 points, Bruno, is a little bit disappointing, you still go into that second game with hope, don't you? And 5 points, although it doesn't excite you that much, it does feel like quite a nice platform to go into a second game with. So
Yeah. You're starting on 4 points as well, aren't you? Normally, if you've got pick a good player, that's the advantage.
I think even if you are taking a few of these single game week punts on players, like it's definitely worthwhile just keeping Bruno there in your team, isn't it? Because he's one that you can just always turn to, I think, for captaincy.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking? It's not part of Aman's question here, but there's normally a top. Who do we think we're going to captain this week, or best captains? But it's not a question this week. But who are you guys currently thinking for the armband? We kind of have to see what happens in Europe first, don't we? Again,
Yeah.
but
It's not very nice fixtures, is it really? Obviously, Arsenal's got the home game against PSG, and then up against Bournemouth, and then they play away against PSG. So, could be an Arsenal player. Saka could be a consideration.
yeah, I'm not necessarily that confident that he starts. I don't know. It'd be hard to know, isn't it?
He's another one. Doesn't need a lot of minutes though, does he, to get an attack in return? Even if he comes on for half match or 30 minutes, he can get an assist or a goal. It's on penalties. Yeah, probably Bruno again at the minute. But I mean, if you really want to try and jump up, you've got to go for something different, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm looking at there. Bruno again does look like the safe play, doesn't it? Again, and then Saka could be okay.
Yeah.
Porro could be a good one. Yeah,
do you know what? Someone commented on one of my videos, and I sort of owe him an apology, really, because he'd said, had I considered going for a double game week defender as a captaincy pick, and I was like, nah, definitely not. I'd much prefer sort of mids and attackers. Didn't think it was really viable. He actually captained Saliba last week and done really well out of it. And I think it was Munoz, one of the other ones, or maybe Porro, who'd pointed out recently, done pretty well in a double. So I still don't think I'd do it, but it's viable. If you went for a single game week player next week as your captain, Brian and Bumo, I'm liking the look of him this week. So Man United at home.
Yeah.
Man United probably going to rotate because there's the European match after it. I think that one looks nice.
And if you did bring him in, he's got Ipswich away the game after, isn't he? So that's not a bad shout.
Or Mamouche. Wolves home, but Wolves are doing quite well themselves, aren't they?
Jamie Vardy versus Southampton.
You beat me to it.
Swan song.
He missed the pen, didn't he? That's unlike him.
Keeper saved it. Scored a hat-trick against Southampton in a 9-0 win once.
Go on, do it. Do it. Let's go on to DT Patrick. Welcome back, James. And then the question is top 3 differentials for game week 34. I've just ruined one. Brian and Bumo, have you got a couple for us?
I had one written down, and it was I was going to say, is Jamie Vardy going to have a party at with Saints visiting? But you beat me to it, Ben.
Yeah.
There's not with Leicester and Southampton playing each other. There aren't as many. There's not normally you'd be looking at who they're playing, but the fact they're playing each other it doesn't help with targeting, if you know what I mean. With this week, I nothing stands out for me. I get Gain Kulusevski could be an option. I mentioned earlier.
Same with Ipswich. I had a look and see who Ipswich were playing, and they've got Everton. So I don't think we're going to go there this week on that front.
No. I looked at all the promoted, the relegated sides, and just to see if there was any options there, and it's a dearth this week, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say Mbumo, like you said, 5.4% own the top 1K, 44 points since Gameweek 29. So he's been doing well. But another man who's on the same amount of points from game 29 is Marino, who's been doing really well as well. 2.9% owned. And like I said before, Maddison, 34 points since game 29, and he's only 0.9% owned. If you fancy it.
I don't mind that. There's a good chance that Marino would be back up front as well for that game. Obviously, tomorrow, Party's out, so good chance Marino probably has to go back a position. But for the week after, Party should be back, so could see Marino centre forward returning. What about you, James? Got any others?
No, nothing that I haven't mentioned. No, unless you want to go really punty and go for like Whistler or someone like that. But I think it's probably a stretch too far.
I thought maybe like similar thinking to like Mbumo targeting Man United, who are a team that could rotate with Europe. You could do maybe Bowen as a differential, target Spurs. Two struggling sides really, but Bowen's been playing really well. 2 goals, 2 assists in his last 4 matches. Just seen what Romero and Ven rested for the game before Europe, so if that happens again, could potentially be all right.
He might want to play Fulkrig up front if for a bit old-fashioned number 9 with the makeshift Spurs defenders. Yeah, that could work.
Or maybe big game Kev, but it does feel a little bit of a risk after he has just had a benching. But does that mean it's risky, or does that mean he's more likely to play? It's hard. Yeah, but I think it's an okay differential pick, but probably wouldn't captain him. But yeah, I think Mbumo's my favourite. I think there's a bit of love for Mbumo in the chat here as well. Got Joe, who's a United fan, saying Mbumo going to haul against us, Man United. I'm sure I just saw someone else say to bring in Mbumo as well. Steve Ricks, he loves a punt. Mbumo and Cunha masterclasses next week. He's keeping Cunha then. Second part of DG Patrick's question was, who would you like to see Liverpool sign next season? For me, no one, but I'm assuming the question's for you, James.
Well, we need a number 9. So sell Nunes, get 40, 50 million for him, hopefully. Put that as a down payment for Isaac. If we can't afford Isaac, because they're going to want 100 million plus for him. Maybe someone like Delap from Ipswich might be a bit more affordable. Bags of potential, got all the assets that you'd want in the striker. Possibly not finished article just yet, but could be. I think we need. We're probably going to need another right back. Bradley's too injury prone to cover full time for Trent, because it looks like Trent will be leaving, but we'll see. I think if we're going to replace Trent, we probably need to go for someone like Jeremy Frimpong of Bayer Leverkusen. Apparently, he has a gentleman's agreement to leave for 33 million. That would be an absolute steal if we could get him. We need a new left back. I think Robertson's days are numbered, and Tsimikas is a decent player, but he's not top draw. And it looks like Milos Kerkez, Bournemouth, might be the man to go for there if he doesn't go to Madrid. That would be a nice summer if we can get Isaac, Kerkez, Frimpong. I'd settle for that. Maybe a backup for Gravenberch in case he gets injured. I'm not sure who you'd buy though, because Caicedo and Lavia decided that they wanted to go to Chelsea. So who knows? It's a difficult position to fill that holding midfield role, really.
Wharton's looking amazing, isn't he? Adam Wharton's looking brilliant in that spot.
With him, yeah. I thought he was more attacking, but I can't say I'm an expert on him. Tony rates him very highly, I know.
I'll say it on his behalf. He used to play for Rovers. You mentioned Robertson there. I wanted you to guess something. You might know the answer to it, but obviously we're used to the seasons of Trent and Robertson putting silly numbers up for attacking returns, aren't we? Do you know how many attacking returns Robertson's got this season?
I don't imagine it's very many.
Little mini quiz. Have
3?
a guess. What's your guess, Ben?
5.
He has 1 assist all season. No goals. Pretty mad, isn't it?
I didn't think he'd scored.
It might be a bit more down to the way that slots change the way they play as well a little bit. There's a bit less chaos, isn't there? But yeah, that shocked me. I heard it on another pod. Andy Barnett, another welcome back, James. So what do you think is the best transfer strategy? I thought this one was interesting. So number 1, any player you bring in will be for the remaining weeks of the game. So I guess a longer term approach, maybe predicting finalists and stuff. Strategy 2, he says, bring in 2 midfield or forward players each week for the easiest fixture. Potentially taking out those you brought in again to attack the next week. So I guess a scenario like Cunha this week, bring him in, take him out, target someone else. Or number 3 says, do you have a different strategy / idea for the rest of the season? What one you liking the most out of those, James? Or have you got a better plan up your sleeve?
I do. I know what you're saying. I think the answer is a mixture of the two, which is probably not a very exciting answer. But
Fence.
I think maybe you can punt with 1 transfer. The trouble is, if you punt with 2 and it doesn't work out, and you've then got to get rid of those 2, and then of course, if you've got any injuries or problems, then your team can quickly get yourself in a mess. So I'm a bit more cautious when it comes to things like that. I would use 1 to build the team and the other 1 to punt. That's my sort of preferred thinking.
Yeah, I like that. Sensible. Where you been?
Normally, I'd be going for 2 players, obviously looking a little bit longer term, trying to get extra games as you go along. Usually players have got plenty of double game weeks, but as we get into the close to the end of the season, there's not many double game weeks for many teams now. And as you've seen this week, I've gone with 1 punt and 1 player for a longer term. So like Palmer for the double, and then I brought Cunha in for the plum fixture, Leicester at home. So yeah, potentially, like James says, a bit of both, especially at this time of the season when you're chasing.
The Hovis strategy.
Huh?
The
Hovis, best of both.
Yeah, I like that. I did feel drawn to option 2 actually. That feels the exciting one, isn't it? Bring in 2 mids or forward in each week, and then that could be your way to sort of capture get the maximum chance of like a mega haul. But I do sort of think like what you were saying there is, how do you make sure you get? It's maybe not so important for the European or Europa finals, because they're going to be midweek, and you imagine if they do end up with doubles, they'll probably rest players before the final.
Yeah.
But have you thought about what you might do if Arsenal get through to the Champions League final? Because they'll be on a week on their own, wouldn't they? And we're only gonna have 2 transfers each. I know those final games of the season where it's like 1 team playing. It's the same on the like World Cup game and stuff, isn't it? You always try and get a load of players playing, and then it ends up being a really low scoring match.
Yeah.
Have you thought about what you might do as a strategy in that scenario, or just be, happy with 2 to 4 involved?
Well, that's in the back of my mind, which is why I was erring towards Saliba this coming week, with the hope that Arsenal do all right against PSG in the first leg and may reach the final. Because you don't want to be going into that last
nothing.
week with just 2 Arsenal players, you probably want 3 or 4, wouldn't you? I'm not sure you'd want more than that.
And everyone will
Unless
have
you-
Saka, won't they? Already.
Yeah, everyone's going to have the same ones. I've got Saka and Raya at the moment. I'm probably going to add Saliba to that, and then when we get closer to the crunch, if they're still there, you might bring in a Marino, or possibly even an Odegaard or a Rice nearer the time.
Yeah. The only way I can see it of like getting something at that point of the season in Game 38, if they get to the final, is maybe targeting a full Arsenal back line. So if they get a clean sheet in the final, they'll be laughing. But the games are now, if you want to target these championship teams, then just bring in a striker that's going to be playing them. Like, is it Game 35? Chris Wood's got Leicester at home. Could smash it there, couldn't he? And he's got Ipswich after that. No, sorry, he's got West Ham after that.
Near enough.
Yeah, West Ham away.
I suppose if you start building the Arsenal one though, they've got Southampton last game of the season, and there should be a full week, or is it even longer between that and the final? So they probably will play both.
Yeah, six days between then and the final.
Joe Cook in the chat. What would your top 3 defenders be to finish the season? Touched on a few there. Is it unanimous on Porro? I think he's got to be in there.
I don't think so. I think I would have Munez, Guardiola, Saliba, but Porro's very close.
I suppose they've all got extra fixtures as well, haven't they? Cup finals for Palace and Vardiol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Vardiol, Munoz, Porro. Saliba's good, but he's just a bit boring, and it's like doesn't score many goals, just ticks along. Obviously, you get clean sheets, then you're laughing, but if you don't get a clean sheet, then it's a bit like like the debate you had with Chris Wood. If you don't get a goal, then it's a bit of a damp squib. So if you don't get a clean sheet, it's a damp squib.
Yeah. I'd crossed Munoz out right at the end, but I've left it with Cucurella, Vardiol, Porro. But I've already got Munoz in my team, so I can't imagine that I'm going to really take him out at this stage now. So I think people got a little bit frustrated, didn't they? He had like two games where he conceded like 10 goals combined. And then a few people took him out, and then he's back to doing well again, isn't he? So
yeah,
a mixture of those. Any advice for Icaz? He's on course to finish in the top 1K this year. His best ever finish. Well played. How can he improve that next year? James.
I think when the season ends, you'll have plenty of time to reflect on what went well, what went badly. You'll have another year's experience. You've got to remember, it's still a fairly new game in terms of the rules have changed completely. I think the key to doing well in this game is to know when to go against the template, when to take that calculated risk. And there are weeks to do that when, during the season when there's like a single game week. Everyone's obviously going to load up on the European players, but bringing in that sort of Embuemo type character at the right moment and getting a massive haul when everyone else is going, oh no, I've got to stick with the European players. It's knowing when to make those choices that differentiates in this game. I think differentiates a good player from a really great player, and I'm not. That's something I've learned. I think myself. I'm not really a punty manager as such, but I think you've got to think a bit more like Tony. He's willing to take those risks, and he's had some success with that. So I think that's my sort of tip for the game. And of course, I don't know we don't know how he did with his chip strategies, how that panned out, but maybe that's something to reflect upon. I think it's the good week to use like the max captain. We've all said is probably the third or fourth round of the FA Cup, because it's such a random week. You never know who's going to go off. So I think naturally he's going to get better. That would be my take on it.
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty well there. Pretty much agree with most of what you said. You obviously, like you said, look back at your season and you see where you can improve. I was going to mention the chips, like you say. Look at them. I think, obviously, stick to double game week players as the season starts, but try and look for them players that are playing really like the promoted teams. Really, you want to target the promoted teams at start of the season, and try and get high ceiling players in from start, like your Salahs, Haalands. Don't try not to go without the big players at the start, because obviously some people have done, and it's bitten them, because they can just score hat tricks easily. But yeah, you've got to find that enabler, aren't you? The cheap player that can enable that. Obviously, we always say about the cheap goalkeepers. Like I think Scott, you had Sells at the start of the season, didn't you?
Yeah, sells for majority, I think. Yeah, at least half.
Yeah, and he was the pick this year for the goalie. Was he 2.5 million, something like that?
But he's still going strong, isn't he? Really?
Yeah. What were the other ones we had this season? Irogbinam, he had a good little run at the start, didn't he? Kamada did well in the cups. So you need like differentials like that to help you at the start of the season, but obviously get the big hitters in as well.
Yeah, I don't know how aggressive he went with like his budget building at the beginning of the season, but that is the
point. Yeah,
that's the real game changer, isn't it, for new players? The building that budget, because all of the experienced players are constantly budget building as quickly as they possibly can. Like look at our man. We've always called him Mr. Moneybags, haven't we? He's always building his budget. He was building his budget longer than what most players were, and we were like, do you really need to still keep doing that? And he still kept plugging away, building the budget. That's not necessarily why he's in 10th, but it definitely didn't hurt, did it?
Yeah, he's bringing form players in as well. When you're bringing budget, you're building your budget, aren't you?
Yeah, mine was pretty similar to with James. I think I've become a better player really when I started to become more boring, or more template is the dirty word that everyone likes to say, but it's just usually picking the straightforward picks, or what you think are the obvious picks. I don't think there's any need to be like out of the box too early. Even like the popular captain, like there's nothing wrong with going with the crowd at times. Usually you go with the crowd because the crowd are all having the same idea that this player is actually good. It's not. I know people like to go, oh, it's a sheep thing to do, but people are doing it for a reason normally. But then, yeah, later on in the season, I think once you've got like a bit of a platform and you're pushing on a little bit, I think around Christmas time, I started to turn the risk dial a little bit, and it didn't always pay off, but I've dipped my toe into taking a few more risks, and it's been all right. So, yeah, I think just ease into the risks, because you don't have to be taking the risks that early, do you? Because once you fall behind, I think that's when you start trying to overcompensate and taking more risk and more risk. So it's quite nice to stay with the crowd, I think, early on. Marathon, not a sprint. Should we move on?
Yep.
This was a hard one. Andy Barnett. So excluding City, Arsenal and Liverpool, which two clubs do you think are capable of scoring over 6 goals in their remaining 4 Premier League fixtures? I found this a hard one.
I'll put one in there. It came in late, so I didn't have too much time to think about it. But Newcastle have got some holes in them, haven't they? When they turn it on.
Goals.
Yeah, and the fixtures are okay. I was going to say Bournemouth as well, but they've sort of gone off the boil a little bit, and they've got really tough fixtures. really tough, apart from the last game of the season. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, I think Forest can do well over this period. It's a shame they didn't get to the final. Not. They got Palace, Leicester, West Ham, and Chelsea at home. That could be a top 4 game. That could be a bit tetchy, or top 5 in it now. But they could have already sealed it before then. I think. Tottenham.
Villa.
Yeah,
That's who I put. Villa.
Yeah.
That Tottenham and Man United, if they're still resting players for finals and things.
Yeah, that Villa one could be. Spurs could be the game before the Europa League final, so Spurs could play a full different team, and then then they face United. What could be a United Spurs final, the game after the final, so it could be some tired legs there. So I think that's a decent shout.
Yeah, good shout.
I think Brentford as well.
Tottenham's been doing really well, haven't they? With goals wise, scored lots of goals, but obviously rotation is a bit of a problem. Yeah, I like the Brentford shout.
Yeah, I see him scoring against United, couple at least against Ipswich.
Yeah,
Fulham, Wolves though, probably a bit tougher on their form. I think there was one last question that came in late, so let me just double check on the on YouTube from our channel member. So Shay McClear, struggling with a 50-50 between Garnacho and Mbumo this week. Who do you guys recommend? Mbumo from me.
Mbumo.
Yeah, I think Mbumo. Just talisman, any penalties, he's class on the bonus, and he's scored a lot of points this year. With no Europe.
Yeah, that's double the goals. 18 goals for Mbumo, 9 for Garnacho. Garnacho kicks him at the keeper. Mbumo puts him in the net, doesn't he? So I think unanimous Mbumo. And he's using his other transfer, Morgan Rogers to Declan Rice. Seems okay.
Yeah.
Right, let's do some leagues. Tonic tag team lead. It's still myself and Connor in third. I think we've been stuck there all season. Third position there. Second, Paul McNulty and Andrew Ferguson. And then in first, it's Stephen Maxwell and Adam Gregory. I think there's not been any movement with that top 3 for months now, I think. That's sewn up. What's that? 28 points between second and first?
Yeah.
I could do that. I don't think me and Connor are going to catch up, though, unless we do something drastic there.
That's a big gap now, isn't it? Yeah.
Go on, Ben, take the cash league.
Yeah, a new name in third, N Moore. Lee Giles in second, and Jay Godwin in first.
He's smashing it as well. Where is he in the overall leaderboard? In 5th place, Mr. Godwin. The Dream Team, Patreon-only cash league. You got that there, James?
I'll try and read that. It's very, very blurry. In third, Patrick Bryson. Second, Lee Giles. And top is Tom Gledhill.
Oh, that's the second chance.
Oh, sorry. Which one am I doing?
That's right. And then the Patreon, that's the second chance. And then the Patreon Cash League, J Miles, Silent Pal, and Lee Giles. Big hitters in there. And then we've got one last announcement for the Patreon Shield. So we had the draw, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago? That was played this game week. So let's read out the lucky winners. So Silent Pal, big hitter, defeated by Patrick Bryson. So Patrick makes it through to the semi-final. We've been denied a Patrick versus Patrick scenario. So Patrick Harrison has lost to Jay Cummins. So that battle's over. But congratulations there to Jay Cummins. We've got Big Fish gone through to the semi-final. Stephen Wow beat Mark Warner. And Connor's trash talking was too much for Bradders. So Connor has made it through to the semi-final as well. So we've got Patrick Bryson, Jay Cummins, Stephen Wow, and Connor Story into the semi-final. That draw is going to be made on the next pod and to be played in Gameweek 35. So get your thinking caps on, lads. Well played. I think that's it. If you've enjoyed that, drop a like, subscribe if you're not already. Good to see you, James. Been nice catching up.
Thanks for having me on, chaps. I've enjoyed it. Cheers, everyone.
And congratulations again on the title.
Cheers, mate. Very, very gracious of you.
Right. Well, it's a Friday deadline, so we've not planned it out, but we might have a Friday deadline stream for you guys. But yeah, we'll see you then. Bye-bye all.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.